Hi, I'm Brianna with Sustainable Broomfield, and I'm here to show you how to properly turn the compost in our bins. So the first thing you want to do is when you come over here, you need to find our little note sheet here that has record of who turned the compost bins and which one they turned and when. So if we open this up, we see that bins 1, 4, 5, and 6 were last turned on May 25th by a nice volunteer. So when we finish turning, we will write down our information there just so everybody knows when it was last done. Sometimes I kind of tuck this away under here to keep it from getting a little more wet, so just look for it. The markers to fill out everything are in this little container right here, and it's usually sitting on top of one of the bins that we're not using. So then next you're going to come over to the bin you want to turn, and we have these strings tied up so they hold the signs for us. But you're gonna just untie, it's just a slip knot, so you just pull on this string right there. And some of the strings are kind of weak, so actually just lift the bin like normal. You don't need to pull it up. And then what I like to do to keep the bin from falling back down on me is I'll take this extra string and I will just tie it off with a little loop, just kind of an overhand. And then it keeps it from falling down on me while I'm working in the compost bin. So the next thing you want to do to turn the compost, you probably don't want to wear nice clothes. I kind of wear like my gardening outfit, and you'll most definitely want some gardening gloves because it can get a little bit messy. So we're gonna come in here, take our pitchfork, and what I like to do is kind of section off my bin into like 9 little kind of segments. And I'm gonna dig in each little square and try and dig all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna start by digging kind of in this little corner here. And you just dig down and kind of lever the compost back up. And there are sometimes little field mice in here, so just kind of watch out for them. It's an occasional thing. We are in nature, so a little something we gotta kind of deal with. And this is a very full bin, by the way. We're gonna actually rotate to a new bin when it gets about this full. But as you can see, we're just kind of pulling all that old stuff that's in the bottom over on top of the new stuff. This is a little bit of a physical job, so if you got to be kind of careful you don't hurt yourself. If you're not up for the physical task, it might not be the job for you, but there's other ways you can help out the compost club. So I'm really trying to dig all the way down to our very base here as much as I can. You can kind of see this is going to take a little bit to get through this entire bin. So you should allow probably, I would say about 15 minutes at least to turn a bin when it's really full like this. So I've gotten down pretty much to the bottom here. Might do one more scoop. There is like a plastic liner in the bottom of some of these, so sometimes the pitchfork kind of gets stuck in them, so just watch out for that. All right, so I'm pretty much down to the bottom here. So then what I like to do is move to the next section and just kind of pull it into this open section. So the dry stuff that was on top gets pushed now kind of down to the bottom. And our whole goal here is to just kind of flush oxygen through the system. And so we kind of want to move each material from where it was compacted and pressed in before to a new location. And so now I'm kind of digging down into this next square right there. And I'm kind of pulling up all that stuff from the bottom again into this new area. And I just basically continue that process. So I would go to the next corner, kind of pull it down into this corner. Again, if you can get everything moved, don't forget to get the middle in there sometime as well. That's what we're needing to have happen here. And you can see it's kind of a hard job That's why we need volunteers to help us with it, because it's tough for like just 1 or 2 people to take care of all 6 of the bins that we have to turn. So anytime you can help us out, that'd be great. When you're turning, if you notice things like produce stickers, we got a little one that's stuck right here, or other trash, other items that are in the compost that shouldn't be in the compost, just take them out. We've got this kind of little trash bucket right here. You can just throw it in there, and we want to keep our compost as clean as we can. And turning needs to happen once a week, ideally, twice a week if it was possible. So any help that you can provide us is great. Thank you. Okay, so just finished turning this bin of compost. A few things that we found going in there. So if you can avoid putting whole cobs of corn in here, like break these things up into smaller chunks before placing them in the compost, that would really help us out, because these take a really long time, especially with the peel on them, to decompose. Again, break things into 3 or 4 inch pieces as much as you can. Also, we need to really watch out for contaminants. Our gardeners found when they were placing the compost in the garden, he came across a razor blade, a Hot Wheel car, and shards of like pottery or something like that. So really, like, let everyone know who's contributing to your compost at home what can go in there, what can't, and really watch out for those contaminants. So when we finish, we'll deal with these a little bit later, cut them up. All you need to do is, if the compost after you've turned it feels dry, please add water with the hose. This is really nice and moist. It needs to be as moist as a wrung out sponge. So once I've turned this, all that wet stuff from the bottom kind of gets mixed throughout. So it's looking pretty good right now. So you can just untie your string here, close your lid, and then if you can please tie a slip knot to help keep these strings in place. You basically just go around. It's like an overhand knot, but we're doing it around this string. So you just go over and you tuck it through, and you just pull a loop through instead of actually pulling the whole string through. And that will keep it in place and keep the strings from getting all tangled up and stuff like that. So when you've finished, come on over to our clipboard here, and like I said, we've got markers in this little container here, and you can just jot down, okay, we turned bin 1, and today was June 2nd, and we added water. We'll say no, it didn't really need it, and then I'll just put my initials there. And if you can just put the markers back when you're done. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for anyone who is willing to take on this challenge. It's a physical task. I said, if you're coming to drop off your compost, maybe you can just plan an extra 15 minutes to turn the compost at the same time. That would, again, really help us out. And just pick any bin that hasn't been turned in a while. They all need to be turned, even if they look like finished compost. It's still good to turn them and stuff. So thank you again. We really appreciate all your help.